We are about to start the second session in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, live at St. Bede's, Eric Garcetti.
A very good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. I feel like I should be giving a sermon up here. I've got 2 minutes and 55 seconds, so I'm going to go quick. My name is Eric Garcetti, and I'm so proud to be here. Thank you, fellow Democrats. It is wonderful to be with you here today. And thank you for coming out and showing us that in Los Angeles, not only do we care about politics, but we care about local politics. I come before you as a candidate for mayor. I want to earn your support. I'm the strongest Democrat in this race. Been a lifelong Democrat, and like you, I've been a Democratic activist, a member of this club, a member of other clubs as well, but more importantly, in leadership positions in the Democratic Party, from chairing President Obama's campaign here in Southern California in 2008, from serving on the Democratic National Committee on the Executive Committee, to for the last 4 years for President Obama, chairing every local official in the country who's a Democrat. I built up an organization called Democratic Municipal Officials that puts a local voice back in Democratic politics and a Democratic voice back in local politics as well. We have 6,500 members. We are engaged in the presidential elections, and I know that all Democratic politics begins in a neighborhood and in a club like this. I'm very proud, though, to have the strongest record of standing up for democratic values. Whether it was in 2001 when people were rushing, beginning of 2002, rushing to invade Iraq, I led the city council in passing a resolution to oppose that war. Even though I'm a proud service member myself in the Naval Reserve, it was something that was the right thing to do. Other folks that are in this race did not vote with me on that. We passed it successfully, but it's a differentiator in this race. I've stood up for marriage equality, passed some of the largest environmental legislation in this country, the largest clean water bond in this nation's history, which is cleaning up Santa Monica Bay and the LA River as we speak, the largest green building ordinance in the country as well. And with a proven track record of getting things done, we're not stopping there. As a council member now, we're looking to organize our recycling and waste industry. That's not very good over here. Looking at those low-wage industries where we need to bring a living wage. Proudly stood up for a living wage for hotel workers along the Century Corridor. And I also can claim having lived here in West LA. I grew up in the Valley. My senior year, my parents moved here to West LA. I've lived here ever since. So if you want the candidate, we'll have a Jewish mother calling him about traffic every single day. Vote for me. If I could say that in a church. And I really do want us to have great transit options. I want us to be sure that we build our subway along Wilshire to the west side, finish up the Expo line, have a Crenshaw line, connect the Green Line with LAX, work closely with Mike Bonin or whoever is going to be. I know Odysseus is here and others, but Mike Bonin's my guy for City Council, and I think he's got a great chance of running. And as I've worked with winning, and as I've worked with Bill Rosendahl and others, I will be a mayor that will bring regional leadership across city borders so that Culver City and Santa Monica and Beverly Hills and Los Angeles begin to act together. That we listen to the community, whether it's about Bayona wetlands or whether it's about making sure that we do the right thing at the airport, those promises that have been made that have not been delivered to the community on traffic and improvement. I've been given the stop sign, but I'd be proud to earn your support. Please go vote. You've got a great slate of officers, too, to vote for, but I'd be very proud to earn the support of this club. And last thing, sorry, I know I'm just over, 32 of the 35 Democratic clubs that have endorsed in this city have endorsed me as a reflection of the strong Democrat that I am and that I will be as mayor. So thank you so much. And with that, I'll toss it back. Of course. No, I can stay here as long as you want.
Okay. Eric, what do you think are the top 3 issues facing the city of Los Angeles today, and what would your approach be toward resolving these issues?
You know, it's really important, that last part. How do you resolve issues and what experience do you bring? Because for me, I was city council president for 6 years, elected 4 times by my peers, including my friends that are in this race. They and their fellow colleagues said that this was a person who could lead across different opinions. And I used to joke that I shouldn't have had the title of city council president. I should have had the title of group therapist. Because to be an effective legislator, politician, mayor, you have to understand what makes different people tick. And so to resolve my top 3 issues, which would be this economy, traffic and transportation, and our environmental stewardship. Those 3 things, you have to be able to bring people together. First and foremost, on the economy. To target those key industries, I've been spending a lot of time in West LA with startups. We are ranked the 3rd best startup culture in the world. Silicon Valley #1, Tel Aviv #2, and LA now #3. And Silicon Beach which represents not just high-tech companies, but also looking at the rebirth of aerospace and other things like SpaceX and some of those companies, are going to be key to my administration. And also queuing up young people for jobs in those industries, teaching, for instance, computer programming in our schools, not just Spanish and English and other and foreign languages, but computer programming languages, and using our community colleges to do that. Second, looking at traffic and transportation. I outlined some of the things that I want to do on public transit, but I also want people to have the option of staying in their communities, of building up more self-contained neighborhoods like we've done in Hollywood and Silver Lake and Echo Park, places you wouldn't have gone 10 years ago that have a huge turnaround because we allowed you to be able to go out for a cup of coffee, to a restaurant, to bike, to walk. I got the first pedestrian coordinator in the Department of Transportation's history in the city. 20% of our trips are walking, and we didn't have one engineer thinking about what happens when we walk. So traffic and transportation is about that infrastructure of public transit, but also other ways of getting around. And environmental stewardship, I bring the Sierra Club endorsement to this, and the League of Conservation Voters, the strongest record, but I will bring people together because if you don't start by listening, you cannot lead. I've always said, as a former teacher, I learned first how to hear and how to listen. It's more important than what I'm doing right now, talking, is listening, and I will continue to do that as mayor.
Unfortunately, Los Angeles is, again, so you can't hear me. Los Angeles is considered the homeless capital of the United States. What is your plan? Do you have a plan for combating homelessness here in our city, in our fair city?
I want to do more than combat homelessness. I want to end homelessness in Los Angeles. And when some folks have said, isn't that too lofty a goal? I say, absolutely not. Sure, there will be people who fall out onto the street. We can't prevent anybody from ever being homeless. But chronic homelessness, we know how to end, we can end. I have a plan to do it and experience doing that already in my own district. We have to take a homeless census every couple of years, count the number of homeless that we have. And unfortunately, it's made us #1 in the country. We're the homeless capital of America. I've worked on this issue since I volunteered in junior high and high school. Throughout college, it was an area that I focused on. And when I was given the choice of chairing any committee on the city council, I chose the housing committee because it was put on the ballot Measure H, which unfortunately needs a 2/3 vote, but we got 64% of the city to embrace that would have helped us end homelessness. But in Hollywood, we've gone a step further than just counting the homeless in a census. What we did in Silver Lake and Hollywood was we built permanent supportive housing. In other words, housing with services. Because if you just have housing with no services, most people go back on the street. If you have services without housing, you keep people alive, but they're still on the street. And what we did is we went out and learned everybody's name and everybody's story. Look this up online. Hollywood Forward is the name of the initiative, together with churches and synagogues, with nonprofits. I think Getty kicked in a bunch of money, with our businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, and government. We now are taking people off the street, over 150 of them in Hollywood alone. And usually when you put people in housing, about 80% of them will fall back on the street who have been formerly homeless. 2 years later, not one single person is back on the street. Because what we did is we put them in housing, veterans, chronically homeless folks, who have the services they need. If it's substance abuse counseling, we have it for them. If it's job training, we have it for them. If it's mental health care, we have it for them. And I've stared down people who have literally in community meetings spit at me in my face, who said, I'm liberal, but I don't want you bringing those people here. And I said, it's not an issue of whether we bring them here. They're already here. It's whether we house them or don't. If we keep them on the street, we pay more, even if you don't care about them, than taking them, putting them in housing for about $5,000 a year versus $20,000 in one single weekend in an emergency room visit. We can and we will end homelessness in America.